Hello, John. How you doing? I'm fine. And you? Fine. Thank you. Improving. Fine and improving. Yes, I am seeing. No, I am in Colombia at this moment. I was in United States, but I have to come back because I don't have employment authorization, and UC don't want to give me the employment authorization. I was that result become a homeless. At this moment, I am doing a sue against U.S. government and Colombia government because I was requesting political asylum, and I was detained during 71 days. So I am at this moment with this situation because I need to come back. I am not risk here. So that's the point. Yes, it needs change. In fact, for example, we did a proposal when I was detained that the UX taxpayers are paying taxes to keep people detained. There are approximately 200 jails for immigration in all the country, and we need to make a zoom in all of these expenses because we can accelerate the process to evaluate political asylum cases and migration cases if we use science and technology. So with this idea, we can work in this problem because you are paying taxes to keep people detained. And for example, when someone requests political asylum, they can receive an employment authorization and open an ITIN and also give a social security number, and he can start to pay taxes. And he must be detained, and he must have access to internet. And when he get an employment, he can be released. At this moment, you need to get a sponsor in United States, someone who can maintain you, and if you don't have something like this, you need to keep the tennis. So that's something that makes no sense. It's something that some expenses that not make sense for taxpayers as you. So at this moment we are doing that proposal, and I am working on that. For the reason I am making a sue in order to repay me. For example, in my detention, all my clothes were stolen or lost because they say that they can keep my bag. They revoked my tourist visa, my B1, B2, because I was doing an experiment, an ethnographic experiment with DoorDash in my last trip. So they said that I was working, and they keep me detained during 71 days. And I was traveling because I was arrested here in Colombia because I was negotiating a strike, and I can stay here at this moment. And so with one of your connections, I was talking with one of our common connection. I was talking with her about if I can receive military security in the United States because he is working with the Department of Defense in order to keep negotiating here in Colombia. But you know that we have a risk of persecution, unless in Colombia, when you want to tackle the corruption with technology and science. And for the reason we was trained last year on November 13th, and I am here in a farm without security. So I am negotiating bodyguards because, for example, in Colombia, if we are social leaders, we can have bodyguards. And what I'm trying to do is to negotiate bodyguards, but in the United States. So the Colombian government give me bodyguards, but in the United States because it's more secure. Or if the United States give me military security or any type of security, it will be better. So I am negotiating that at this moment. Because when you are in this process, they make you an interview of credible fear if your story is real, and my story is very real, and I'm trying to prove it. I can't stay here. For this one, I share you the situation that I need to return when I have employment authorization because, for example, when you work in informal jobs, almost 5-7% of the population in the state don't have employment authorization of any legal formalization of your migration, and you need to create a fake ID of your social security number and and your residence, permanent resident document. And many people work in that way, and you know that it is a crime. So I was very stressful because I can go to jail almost 15 years if someone see you. I was trying. I made this document. I was trying to apply to jobs, to informal jobs, and many people was searching for 1, 2, 3 months searching jobs, unless in California because it is a sanctuary state. and I can find nothing, and I was without any type of, I don't have money. I was run out of money, and I, for example, detained my passport, and I was very stressful because I can't come back. I make an experiment calling 911, saying that I'm going to suicide myself. I'm going to go to the range of the trail in order to return to ICE to the detention and continue when I have an employment authorization. And they say no. It was very hard. It was the worst experience of my life, my last trip in the United States. But that's not our situation, but that's like the common point. And at this moment, with this, I would like to know a little bit more about your scope, how, if you have connection with people of USA spending, with performance and evaluation.gov. I had a connection there, but she now is working with DHAs, with the Department of Homeland Security. She's not working with USA spending, but she never replied my messages. This is the first approximation with you. I was reading that you help people and organization to make successful agreements with the U.S. government, something like this. Let me know. Yes. Yes, yes, okay. Okay, I have been assuming the challenges of make ventures in e-government, government technologies, or so digital democracy, or and things like that. What we are trying to do, the proposal for United States, I am trying to apply to the visa by national interest (EB2) in parallel with the political asylum, and I want that United States keeps in the top one in the e-government development index of United Nations and in the top one of the in the government technology development index from World Bank. That's like the main scope for the country, but I am trying to improve that indices. And what I'm trying to explain is that we want to create a social and state resources simulator. That's like the scope. For example, we also want to make it with legislative projects in the Congress. We want to propose that, for example, political candidates must be forced to quantificate their government plans, and we need to use something like this that can interact over time and simulate that kind of things. I have some proposals writing about it, but like the scope in Colombia, I have been trying to make it, but we are very corrupt and that's very complex. But what I want to do is, for example, the Minister of Finances of Colombia make a partnership with a country of Europe, I don't remember, to create something to reduce the expenses. But I am seeing that United States has three initiatives. That's something that is a good point for starting. But we need to make a new vision about it, and we want to create a new organization, a non-profit with the name Sociemy, and our massive transformative purpose is track and participate in your society. And we want to use this organization to create the same standards in all the countries. But it has a lot of risks, you know. But for example, in the United States, I think that it has less risk because the United States has an initial initiative. Anyhow, for example, in the United States, I have been reading that you have 20 millions of people working in the government, and we are trying, for example, in Colombia, negotiate that we want to reduce expenses as much as possible with technology, particularly with artificial intelligence, because taxpayer we are paying taxes to keep people working in bureaucracy in the government, and the fourth industrial revolution must start in the states, because the states are the organization of all of us, and we are making a transition about it, and it will be very hard because many people could be unemployed. But I am also negotiating a macroeconomic job proposal. For example, in my Twitter, I make a tweet. I have a pinned tweet with Biden because he was talking about the employment, and I am sharing the proposal. I am negotiating the proposal in Colombia. So the point is that I want to make the partnership with Colombia and United States. I think that the United States could be in the top one and Colombia in the top two in this situation, because probably the thing will be more easy in United States. Some things will be very difficult here because you have more things that the country developed. But that's like the scope for both governments. I am very connected in the politics in Colombia. In United States, I have some connections in politics. I am trying to make connection with the Department of Defense at this moment to validate the risk of this situation and keep protection, because it will be very hard, and you need we are making it through sues against the government, claiming the human rights, for example, and some constitutional rights and some laws. In the proposal that I was doing when I was detained, for example, in Colombia, we have three legislations about the access to public information. In United States, I don't know how it works, and it is very ambiguous. It must be improved. We have a clear legislation for the right to petitions, and we have a legislation to the right to participate. So we have very challenges in the legislation, and we must connect both things because it is very complex. You can have a lot of ideas, but if you don't have the power to negotiate with the bureaucracy of the politics, it will be very complex. And for example, we are also creating a non-profit, the Planetary Network of Protest, and we are trying to make protests to force it, because it will be not easy, and we must be careful. For example, in Colombia, we already was treated last year, and we must be careful because we have a lot of enemies in these things. If you see my LinkedIn, for example, you can see that one of my purposes is to design the future of society management. And in this process, I have been perceiving that we need to eliminate the mafia of politics, of bankers, of narcotraficants, of money launderers. And let's in Colombia, politics and money launderers and narcotrafficking are very connected. And the journalists, for example, in Colombia, there are a lot of corruption. We are banned. And social network is banning me at this moment because they have conflict of interest with politics, because they are probably most of the best customers. So I'm negotiating that things. For the reason I was in Silicon Valley, I was trying to negotiate it, but I was at risk of become homeless. That's like the broadest scope about the situation. Like that's like the plan. We need to negotiate the strategies. For example, in this case, I think that one way to force the government to make something is with patents. If we patent, for example, the system, we have the license to use it in our own products, or we can license to use the brand of the government, because the government wants to have an official website for there, but we want to create an standard, and we need to negotiate how to use the data of the government, because we want to integrate the data and the information. And with Sociemy, we want to integrate different quantifications across the globe. If you see my LinkedIn, for example, you say that one of my goals is to improve the Kardashev scale and integrate the quantification of the civilization. And we want to create to connect different quantification in Sociemy, for example, and we want to connect to create Cosmoqua, another initiative to improve the Kardashev scale and the Drake equation in a more futuristic vision. And that's like the plan. That's like the path. And we are in that. So I would like to explain you a little bit about it in order to define how we can connect between both governments, because I am also applying to be a US citizen and resident. Okay, okay. So how we can connect with your connection? How do you think? Because for example, in this case, I don't know if we can connect, for example, with attorneys to force the government. How in Colombia we can use the same strategy in the United States in order to continue with this. And we need to know if, for example, you want to be part of the team in order to receive resources, to if you have time, if you want to be volunteering, if you want to receive a payment for advice to keep connection. We need to validate it in order to continue with this. For example, I was inviting people to accelerate us with Way Combinator, and I have a proposal. I haven't shared it with you yet, and I have been writing a proposal for social networks because we need to connect. We need to start to negotiate, and we can use our linking connection to negotiate that sort of things. So let us know how do you think that you can connect with us in this initiative. Okay, 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 right. So but I think that we can start with something. If you tell me that we can make the proposal, I'm going to, if you give me your Gmail account or a account with Google Drive, we make a document and I start to write and you help me with the draft. And we can also think in the uh, incorporation acts. I don't remember the name, but we can incorporate Society in the United States, and we make the I don't remember the name, but we create the organization, the non-profit, in order to make it, and we hire resources with it when we have it constituted. Because if we want to make agreement with the government, we need an organization, and we can create something to apply to grants or to make the proposal. For example, I had a connection with someone with Cherry Davis. She was working in Obama Foundation, and I was connected with someone of his network who knows about Obama. He is in my connections, and uh, she's working in participatory budgets, and she already have agreement. So if we make the organization, we can talk with her, and we can share this meeting, and we try to make people. The other thing that I'm going to do is to create. I know I'm going to invite you to the groups of Sociemy, one of the groups of Sociemy in LinkedIn, and when I start to invite people and talk about it and share this meeting, and they and explain them what are trying to do. I think that that's the best way, because we need to high resources. And for example, at this moment, I have a sue against U.S. government. We can use the resources of the sue for start socially, and we can start with this money. You know, that's a good way. Yes, but both are partners initiative from USA spending. If you see in the bottom of the website of US spending, you can see that initiatives. But for example, performance.gov attempts to track the performance indicator of the government agencies. But we are trying to make with with the government agencies or the government organization and with the people. We want to make it in the country that you can track the key performance indicator of both. And we want to create new performance indicators in order to improve the productivity. Yes. But, but the point is that, for example, in Colombia, we have a legislation for the right to access public information. And I need to search in United States how it works. And if it doesn't exist, we need to start a petition to the government and make it with the strikes. We need to promote the strikes to force it because it will be hard. People in the government don't want to make it, but we can think in that strategy. That's like the point that we must connect both things. But that's at least in Colombia, it is alright. I think that in the United States it will be also alright, and probably will not so hard as here because at least in Colombia, the politics is very hard on the people in the government because narco traffic and money laundering is very connected with politics. If you want to be a narco trafficant, you need to put a politician because you need someone to protect you and has connection with the police and with the militaries and things like that. But in the United States, people is not so corrupt as here. That's like different. We need to research it, but I think that it is not a problem. And we can force it in a legal way. If we need to make sues or strikes or things like that, but we can negotiate it. Okay, great, great. I'm going to make it. And let's start with the proposals and we start to make it in the government. In fact, I am going to send. Yeah, yes, I know. I know how this works. In fact, I have a document, a presentation in order how we make the NDAs. No, don't worry about it. And we need to define it. For the moment, we need to invite new people. That's like the way that it is like general idea, abstract ideas, and we need to invite new people to connect with us. Okay. Okay, great. You can see next week. Okay, great. Nice to meet you all. Okay. Bye. Okay, we finish this meeting at 16:53, 16:54. May 22 of after Jesus Christ, 2023, May 22. We are starting to negotiate with the United States. We are going to send it to the US agency and performance.gov, uspayment.gov, and the emails, and we connect with this. Everything is going well. Goodbye, North Americans. We will start with the money of the Sue. The money of the government will be used for the same government, and one part is for the Colombians. Goodbye. Thank you.